Welcome everyone to another epic Town Hall 13 5 versus 5 war. One attack per player, which you will see every single one of them in this video. We have ONEHIVE versus Only the Brave. We will have the Town Hall 13 5 versus 5 playlist in the pinned comments. It's also down in the description if you want to see more epic wars just like this one. However, let's get into the first attack. It is ONEHIVE that takes the first swing, battling out of CZX Knights. We have Tricky, the leader of ONEHIVE, starting this one off with the Grand Warden walk into the Yeti smash. And ONEHIVE did lose their matchup against King Jeffrey just a couple of days ago. I did bring you guys that one on YouTube as well, but they'll be looking to bounce back. They are going to be facing crunch time later tonight, in fact, so they really need a victory here because it is groups of 4 within the Pinnacle Cup, and the top 2 teams will go through. ONEHIVE already taking a defeat. They really need to beat Only the Brave to push themselves forward. Tricky taking his time, using the bowler across that right hand side to help with the funnel, and he's got the entire bottom area of the base stripped apart. It looks like the scatter shot might be his target with that Grand Warden as the King starts to create a funnel on the right hand side. Now the rage spell is used, 1 for as the scatter shot hits the Grand Warden, but more importantly to help with time. Tricky is already 1 minute into this, and as soon as the scatter shot goes down, he will be considering deploying the rest of his troops. But the Grand Warden starts to walk here. Going to be interesting. If it can swipe the Expo, then we might be within luck as long as the Yeti can get into that radius. So the Grand Warden is taking huge damage and presses its own ability. That is huge, guys. Moving into this first attack, ONEHIVE need the victory, and the Grand Warden's ability is swagged at this point. The scatter shot doing a huge amount of damage, but everything's starting to wander. Now Tricky is holding on to the battle blimp. Seemingly that can be sent straight into the town hall in order to try and help out, but everything taking massive damage. He's already got a star, and there's not a lot left here. A huge amount of defenses taken down, and if the Queen does get the town hall, then we might be onto a much higher percentage. Time will be the issue. Queen Pop's ability moves on around, will take the Expo. Assumably the battle blimp could come in towards the multi-inferno at the bottom, but with only 45 seconds left, Tricky has to be careful here. He just needs to power up the percentage because the 3-star is almost off the cards. So in comes the battle blimp. Did indeed pop it once it got over the multi-inferno, and the freeze spell, very cleverly used onto the Queen and the Expo, will help the Yeti through this area, but it is 1, not enough time, and 2, just not enough power. Definitely the Grand Warden's ability getting swagged was the main issue here for Tricky, not to mention the timings at the start. It really took a long time to get through that bottom area. He'll not be massively disappointed with this. I know Tricky, I've met him. He will be disappointed it's not a 3, but it's an 81% 2-star and gets the stars on the board for ONEHIVE. Only the Brave attacking with the hybrid attack. Now they did lose to King Jeffrey yesterday, we're just finding out, which means ONEHIVE and Only the Brave have lost both of their opening matches. So both of them will need to get the victory. In fact, Only the Brave also lost to crunch time, so they have to get the victory here, otherwise they are out of the tournament. The battle blimp getting a very nice start across to that left hand side, taking down the royal champion. A bunch of defenses unfortunately didn't quite get the scatter shot, and an interesting approach with the Royal Champion charge. We don't see a lot of these, but the Royal Champion coming in to get the multi. The Wizard Tower, once the multi goes down here, come on, get the multi. Yes! I thought she might have attacked the King, but she didn't. She got the multi because that was huge with the healers, taking down the air sweepers in the center. It's a shame it's not an air attack because we would have been all clear here, but this is something that's interesting. Look, guys. The Royal Champion goes down, the healers start to move, and he's swagging the healers. That is such an interesting approach. Obviously felt that 4 healers was worth it for that Royal Champion. Couldn't have expected to get too much more with that, but I'm not sure that the commitment of all of that troop capacity was worth the multi-inferno. Let's find out though, as the King and Queen continue to take down defenses at the bottom, creating good pathing, but he's kind of got 2 separate areas of the base. We have the area at the top, and then we have the area down the bottom as well. It's going to be hard to get both with the miners and hogs, but here they come. Miners in from 10 o'clock with the hog riders. They'll clear out the top area. Something's gonna miss here, guys. He's definitely not got everything to plan. I believe the Queen might have been to go onto the inside to get the defenses, because it's near impossible that he would have left them. It doesn't make sense, but the Grand Warden's ability is popped as they all get to that town hall. Now this is scary because there's not a lot of troops onto that town hall, but the hog riders do take it down, not before getting shredded from the Giga Bomb and the bomb tower to finish off. So they will get the 2 stars, and he's trying to drive up the percent, trying to get close to Tricky. We've still got a heal, but why doesn't it get used? The giant bomb goes off and the miners are down. Oh, what a big mistake by Only the Brave. The heal should have been used earlier in my opinion. Does manage to save a bunch of miners, but it's not going to be enough. It's not going to equal the 80% 2-star from Tricky, so 2 stars across the boards, but the percentage lead to ONEHIVE at the moment. However, it is all going to be about the 3 stars. ONEHIVE in the lead on percentage, only just, but Matty got a 3-star a couple of days ago when they had their first matchup. In fact, they nearly rescued the war due to it. A dreaded 1-star meant that ONEHIVE kept the 10 stars, and we did bring you that war as well on YouTube. However, can Maddie repeat that success? The Queen charge into the top area. He's lured the clan castle, which is always a wise move, especially when it is so close to the edge of the base. And I do like the baby dragon just helping to drive the Queen into this little alleyway. No doubt we have small bombs, we have spring traps in that area, but a couple of wall breakers as well just helps to path the Queen in, which is interesting because actually she might have been drawn out to the side and taking huge damage, whereas the wall breakers will hopefully encourage her into the town hall. But the Queen has other ideas. She sees the elixir storage, locks on target, and decides to walk. Definitely not what Maddie wanted, so he's got to adjust, sends in the King and the siege barracks from the right hand side, and the hogs and miners will come into the town hall. However, Queen not going to get too much more value because the multi-inferno locks onto the Queen, and although it does thin the pathing for the miners and hogs, definitely has not got as much value as what she could have got. Now the 2 stars will be secured by Maddie very quickly here. Tornado trap goes down, town hall is gone, but heading into 2 scatter shots, this is going to be difficult. Now he's got a bunch of hogs and miners moving into the first one. A nice freeze spell onto the multi and onto the scatter shot. Interesting that he didn't take the eagle, but it only got 1 shot off. But this second scatter shot is the main thing. If he can get the hogs and miners through this, he could still get it. The Queen stays alive due to an epic freeze spell onto the single and the scatter shot. Hogs and miners moving through. Are they really going to get this, guys? I think they will. The Royal Champion's ability goes off, and with the baby dragon and extra troops, Matty is going to get this done with precision spell placement. Despite the fact that the Queen walked, Matty wipes out this base, and you've got to say that it probably worked out even better having the hogs and miners coming lengthways through the base like that. Let's see what happens. Only the Brave now trail by a 3-star. ONEHIVE did lose to King Jeffrey, as we mentioned, so they're well on track to getting their victory, bouncing back in this tournament. King Jeffrey did lose to Crunch Time as well, which means that ONEHIVE, if they get the victory here, will pretty much tie things up, but King Jeffrey did get the victory over Only the Brave. So Only the Brave really do need the victory. Queen starting with the charge. Oh, what an epic small bomb at the side. Interesting to spam 4 wall breakers in like that because they just went the wrong way. And interesting enough, they do open up the compartment for the single. This could be very good, in fact, guys, if the queen walks around to that single. Oh, she doesn't. She goes through the wall. Oh, that's so disappointing. Because he could have froze the single, got through it, then got to the scatter shot. That would have been a brilliant charge. But it looks like the miners and hogs will be going into that section. Interesting approach here. Queen does get to the eagle artillery, however, but the single is very close to that queen. She is just out of range, but she's going to be comfortable here. She gets to chill out for a couple of seconds. The king drives down that right-hand side, which means that the hog riders and miners can come straight into the single. Miners deployed first, which is always a good call. They're a little bit more tanky. They're not as fast as the hog riders. But the queen goes down, and the healers switch across to the hogs and miners. Now, that's not necessarily the end of the world here, because the healers will keep the main push alive, but there's a lot to get through, and the base widens out, which means it's going to be difficult for them to stick together. The scatter shot is doing huge damage as well. There's not a lot of troops onto it. Miners go the wrong way, and a bunch of them do get onto it. It goes down, but they're caught in the middle of 2 multi-inferno towers. Now, the healers are getting stuck there as well. If they get the multis, this could be okay, but they just don't have the power to get through, and that's it. They are gone. 2 multis left alive. We've got some hog riders. We've got 3 balloons, but they really won't do anything. Couple of archers and a spell factory missed at the bottom as well. Unfortunate. If the queen had have stayed alive, it could have been a different story, but Only the Brave still trailing, only getting the 2-star, well behind on percent, and it's already starting to slip away. Rays of ONEHIVE with the Electro Dragons. I love that Rays always uses the obscure strategies. He is such an analyst of the bases that he can delve into it and really use strategies that will work for that base. An interesting wall break starts with the king to drive out some of the defenses, and the queen can just come straight into the town hall. No healers, a pure Sui method, but is she going to walk? She does! Oh, heartbreak for Rays. Can he fix this? I don't think he can. The queen is gone. She has already gone. Unless he were to use an E-drag, which he would not want to, then the queen is not getting that town hall. Sending in any kind of wall breakers here to try and help out, just to maybe tank. And unfortunately, the town hall actually gets activated, which is not ideal, especially when we've got a sweeper there. The only thing he could do is save the Stone Slammer and maybe send in the E-Drags first. But no, the Royal Champion, that's probably a better call. Has to use the Royal Champion. Where did he want to use that though? Assumably to snipe off an air defense. How crucial will that be? Having to use the Royal Champion, and is she going to get it? Press that ability, Raze. Oh my word. Gets it. And takes down the sweepers, so gets a little bit fortunate. 1 E-drag already down to the single inferno though. We've got that siege barracks across to the side to try and help the E-drags in. And here come the freezers. The back end air defense is going to be the issue. We've got 9 balloons though with the rage. Can he use that in order to help out? The lava loon is going to be his method of choice. A lava hound at the bottom though gets shredded, and you can't help but wonder if Raze is panicking looking at the screen. Not necessarily panicking, but just wondering, how on earth did this happen? And what on earth do I do? The E-drag's going down left, right, and center. Uses one at the bottom to pick up percent, so that is a very wise move, because the storage is down there. He can chain through a bunch of stuff, and in comes the balloons to try and help out. But it's all but over. Close to 80%, which is pretty good given that the queen went the wrong way initially, missed the town hall. So there we go, guys. It's just shy of it. 78. Do the balloons get anything else? Very close with these 2 buildings. The archer will indeed go down in a second, not after getting the army camp. So a 79% 2-star keeps ONEHIVE ahead of Only the Brave, and it's a comfortable 2. That's what you need when you're ahead, but if Only the Brave get a 3-star, then they're back in it. Only the Brave with the dragons And they've got to get this one done. They're already behind on stars. They're already behind on percentage. They need a 3-star now. Starting down towards the town hall. Interesting use of the ice golem. Notice the gaps within the walls. We are seeing this a lot in the meta right now, which is basically trying to mess up wall breaker pathing and mess up your troop pathing as well. So his wall breakers do get through here. They get through the initial wall, but that's all they're going to get. One ice golem pops, and you've got to be honest, didn't get too much value than that other than tanking for the king, but how much further will the queen get? Is that worth it? Yes, he gets the town hall comfortable, but what else does he get from this area other than pathing? Might get a cannon, lures the clan castle, not going to be able to take it out with a Sui method here, so an interesting approach to take the 2 ice golems. I think he expected more than that from this Sui push. Does get the town hall, but not a lot extra. Pops 1 ice golem, starts with a balloon on to the cannon at the top. That is purely for pathing. Has a freeze. Is he going to use that for the royal champion? Pop the ability. There it goes. You've got to pop it early, guys, because if you do not, then the single will roast the royal champion, and I'm pretty sure that the single was the target. Very surprised that a freeze spell was not used, because I feel that would have been much better value in that area. Royal Champion taking that down would have been very helpful, but pressing forward, the dragons get onto the queen, lock target and take her down. The single starting to get to work, gets a little bit fortunate that the dragons keep out of range, but what's going to happen moving to the end of this? Are the bats going to get it done? Should the bats be used now with the wizard tower distracted? You've got to say that it could be a good call. Dragons in the center, decides to go with the bats from the bottom. I would have been tempted to try and save the 2 dragons at the top and take down that single inferno, but plows in from the left. The scatter shot is going to take them all down. Oh, it's heartbreak for only the brave. The dragons are shredded. The bats are shredded. Should have used the bats over to the single inferno when the wizard tower was distracted. The scattershot was distracted. He could have got so much extra value. Didn't quite adapt from the first plan in order to do that. And this one is not even a 70%. So, slipping behind further on percentage. Only the brave have got to pick themselves up now. They've got to do something in this war, or it is for sure a victory for ONEHIVE. Okay, we have Sebex. Now Sebex, unfortunately, got the 1-star in ONEHIVE's opening matchup, and he has the talent to get 3 stars again and again. He'll be giving it everything he has to get a 3-star here, and the Queen Charge Hogs is the method of choice. I do like this approach. We've got that little alleyway for the Queen in towards the Town Hall. We've already got the King tanking, and a couple of wall breakers aims to try and help open up that section. Is the Queen going to get stuck though? Couple of more wall breakers come in. If this opens up, the Queen is going into that inside. Come on, get yourself to that Town Hall. King's ability is popped to guarantee that she beelines to the Town Hall. Nowhere else for them to go. Lovely use of the freeze to protect onto them healers. They did take a little bit of damage, but nothing too major. They could still take a red air bomb at this point, and they would make it through. But the scatter shot shifts its focus onto the Queen. Look at these wall breakers. Come on, get yourselves in. Are they going to do it? Yes, they do! Sebex, you animal! Breaking open that wall for the Queen to get access to the scattershot, to the Eagle, and to the Queen. You've got to say that that was incredible. Get some hype for Sebex in the chat. Another black bomb takes out a healer though, so the Queen gets even lower in the healing ability. The final rage comes in, taking huge damage from that scattershot and King, pressing the ability. Come on, Queen, get that scattershot, get that Eagle, do what you need to do. Scattershot goes, come on. Get the Eagle, get the Eagle. She is getting it down, guys. I think she's got it. Come on. Oh! Oh! Final hit! The Eagle goes down. How crucial is that? Sebex takes the Eagle artillery with the final shot, and although the Archer Queen didn't go down, it's no big deal because the Royal Champion is in there. She can be dealt with. The one scatter shot though onto the Hog Riders is massive, getting damage, putting in the final heal spell. And the Hogs have got to get through this scattershot and fast. A bunch of them go down. That is unfortunate. That is unfortunate. We've still got 2 wizard towers, a bomb tower, but the royal champion continuing to come through this area like a boss. Oh, the Hog Riders go down and the single will get the royal champion. This attack really deserved the 3 stars. The wall breaker deployment was incredible. Getting the queen into that area, she got so much value, but it's unfortunate for Sebex. Too much of a deadly area at 3 o'clock. The Hog Riders went down to the scattershot, super close into the 90s, pushing ONEHIVE even further ahead of Only the Brave, but it's not quite enough for the 3. Sebex can sure be happy that it was an amazing display of Clash, and there you go guys, 97% 2 stars. Only the Brave clutching at straws. They need 2 3-stars. They're too far behind on percent that they've got to just get 2 3-stars now. So this is the moment. The Battle Blimp coming into the single and the scattershot with this Yeti combination manages to freeze and get the Battle Blimp exactly where was needed. Yetis wipe out the single Inferno, wipes out the scattershot, lures the CC and gets very nice pathing. So a good start, everything going right, assumably the baby dragon to clean up at that area as well. Nope, uses it for the funnel. Maybe a wizard to clean up then. Something to clean up at that area. Do not forget about that, guys. Queen going to be able to take down the 3 ice golems very easily, no issue, out of the way of the defenses. The king comes in to take the archer tower, continue to keep the queen on track, take down the enemy quick king. There's the wizard for cleanup. Where's the queen going to go? Is he trying to get her into the town hall here? Because I've got a sneaking suspicion that she is not going anywhere near that area. She's just going to walk. Maybe the miners are getting deployed straight onto the area, but the king comes in and the miners then decide to come into the area beside it. So the king wasn't expected to get into that area. He was going to just take that with the miners, but decided to deploy them once the king was tanking some of the defenses. A good move. It does mean his funnel is not quite set as much as he wanted at 6 o'clock, but a very good start here. Miners into the center. Grand Warden in the area, boosting all of their help. A rage spell used onto the miners because the queen is safe. This looks very good. A beautiful freeze spell onto the scattershot and the multi. Royal Champion's ability helping to get that health down. Can they get it? Oh, they don't. This is heartbreaking as the miners split everywhere and allows the scattershot to just take them down again and again. And Only the Brave, from what looked so good, is now so far. Used the Grand Warden way too early. Needed that for the back end of the base. Was that a mistap? I don't know. I believe it must have been, because surely he wanted the Warden ability for as the miners started to split at the back end of the base. Heartbreak, because that could have surely been the 3-star, but on this level you've got to be able to execute the attacks as well. As good as the plan might have been, you've got to be able to execute, and unfortunately it's not going to be a 3-star. So Only the Brave now rely on a mistake from ONEHIVE. They need a 1-star. It happens. We've seen it happen from the best of the best. So Only the Brave really need that situation now. They've got to hope that ONEHIVE 1-star, and they've got to hope that they come back with a 3-star. Let's find out exactly how it goes down. Level 8 Pidgey has bags of experience in these situations. The nerves will not faze him, but Only the Brave really clutching at straws. ONEHIVE have got to either 1-star and Only the Brave 3-star, or get a disconnect. Let's find out. Starting off with a couple of balloons just to snipe off defenses. We've got the blimp, which could be used for the Yeti method. Is it going to be used in this area for the multi and the scattershot, or potentially this other area? We've got a multi and a scattershot either side of the base, so surely that can get pretty good value. I would think over next to the Expos might be the best option to wipe that out and create very good pathing. Especially if he can freeze the multi and the scatter shot. Queen slowly gets through the ice golems, so we're good to go. Let's find out what's happening from level 8 Pidgey, charging the Queen down towards the town hall. We'll be very careful at the moment not to deploy anything else until he knows where the Queen is going, and she goes the wrong way. Goodbye, Queen. She comes up to the top, adapts, sends in the jump spell. I'm pretty sure the jump was meant for the town hall compartment, but in she comes. The multi onto the healers. A freeze needs to be used, and there it is. Now, is the battle blimp coming into the town hall, or is it Hogs and Miners with the blimp on the right? How does he adapt? Gets the Queen, gets the scatter shot, only to just save the healers before the Eagle Artillery wipes them out. So the Queen is going to go down here. It's all about the 2 stars. I think it's incredibly difficult to get the 3 now. Queen activates the town hall, which is not what was needed, really, because it means the Hogs and Miners now take extra damage. A number of options. Level 8 Pidgey sits back, analyzes the situation. How does he secure the 2-star? And doesn't really have to worry about the high percentage because they are so far in the lead, but obviously will be driving that up as much as possible. Switches to the Siege Barracks, a beautiful option to help create that funnel and direct everything to that town hall. Just get it down, get that 2 stars, and worry about the percentage after. Grand Warden's ability this time used on point to take through the town hall, the Hogs and Miners. This is where they start to get issue, when that scatter shot locks in, but they're doing a good job alongside that Royal Champion. He's got a minion which should be used at 6 o'clock to try and clean up. Hogs and Miners getting through. Royal Champion gets the scatter shot. It's not going to be much higher than this, but 60% is more than enough for ONEHIVE. That's it. Only the brave cannot really do it. I believe that is the victory. Let's find out when we go back to the screen, guys. 3 seconds, 2, 1. It is a 62% 2-star. Not what level 8 Pidgey needed. Well, it is what he needed. It's not what he wanted, but it is what he needed. Only the brave, even if they 3-star, they get 79%, so that is the victory for ONEHIVE. But let's find out what only the brave can do. Can they get a 3-star? Can they tie this up and mean that it's a percentage defeat? Let's find out. Here it comes. Mika trying the Yetis, and what is this base? Matty with the troll. As long as he can set the funnel up either side, look at the earthquakes in the army composition that will shred the walls and give access to that town hall, but there's still not a lot to draw them in. A Queen charge on one area, potentially the Battle Blimp and Yetis on the other side to create that funnel could be an option. But this is one of them troll-style bases that we are seeing in Legends League as well, trying to stop you getting the 2-star. An interesting approach, starting off from the central area with the earthquakes. Now this is interesting. Normally what you see is a Queen charge down one area. Wow, everything coming in. Are we going to see a 1-star, guys? I'm worried for only the brave. Everything coming in and everything's going to walk. Is the troll base going to do its job, or can something redirect into the middle? Wow, yes it does. Yes, it does. So the 2-star will be secured here. But I was nervous for a second because this is what happens. You plow everything in. YOLO mode indeed. And everything walks and you've got nothing to get to the center. However, it works. Mika gets the 1-star. I mean, he needs a 3. And even at that, he can't win for his team. However, the 2-star will be secured. We do not want to see a 1-star. The 2-star, it is secured, but everything going down. That's honestly not how to attack that base. If you want the 3 stars on that base, be sure to cut out either side and drive everything else through the middle. That is how you do it. This one will end up being a 2-star in the 70%, but it's not enough for only the brave. ONEHIVE get the victory. They did lose to King Jeffrey, but now they get a victory, and it could allow them to still qualify. They are going to be facing Crunch Time in their next matchup. Crunch Time have won both of their matches, so They are standing strong in the division. It's all about whether ONEHIVE can maintain this and get themselves through. You will see that war coming up later, but only the Brave getting a higher percentage than I gave them credit for. It is going to be 80%, close to 81 if the Yeti can get this Dark Elixir Spell Factory. And does. 81%. Interesting. Full YOLO mode, 81%, but it's not a triple. And granted, very likely could have been. It is a victory for ONEHIVE. So there you go, guys. 11 to 10, 83% over 75. GG to both clans. GG to ONEHIVE for getting the victory. And thank you for tuning into the war.